Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. Dad, what you think about the news that's gone on then? Ryan Mason's Baggies.
The moment has arrived, Dan. The moment, you know something, I'm actually excited because I think whatever decision Albion's hierarchy would have made, everybody would have had their own opinions. And my opinion is this: he's fresh. He'll have new ideas. He's been at Spurs for some time. I know that he'd done 13 games as interim manager at Spurs.
That's
I know
right.
that he's been coaching the under 17s to 21-year-olds. I know that he's out of contract with Spurs, so we save some money on there. I think it's an ideal opportunity for him to put his stamp on his own team. I know that he comes with who was the chap you were saying? Was it Nigel
Nigel
Gibbs?
Gibbs. Nigel
And I
Gibbs
know
from
that
Reading, that's right.
we've got our own Mozza and Moyle in the background. I think for me, it's what's interesting is if you do your research, which I know you do, is that in January this year, Albion did approach him to take the job. So too did Anderlecht.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Because I think, while again, I think there's a bit of mixed opinions on Ryan Mason. And you can see why, just because it's not the normal Albion tradition to go for like a young manager to gamble on him a little bit. Because realistically, in my opinion, it is a gamble because you don't know how it's
Hang
going to
on,
turn. You
hang
don't know how
on,
it's going to turn
hang
up.
on.
Let me speak. Let me speak for a sec because it's true, and
Here
this
we
is
go.
why I think I like the idea of what we're
My
doing here
opinion.
because I'm not. I wasn't fully on board, but you know what? Let's give it a go because realistically, Dad, we brought on an experienced Tony Mowbray, as we said, which people again we didn't know what was going to go on, and it didn't work. And we said, "Oh, get rid of these dinosaurs and whatnot." So let's change it around, do something different, and it could work. You never know.
I'm throwing you under the bus.
Go on.
Right. Oh, here we go. Right. You wanted Corbran out. He went. Mowbray come in. You didn't like Mowbray. Right. Listen. Whatever Albion do, well, they're always going to have the naysayers. I say they've made the decision. Let's run with it. Right. It's very, very important to remember that he's lucky to be alive. He's Ryan Mason.
That's right. Yeah, we had that injury.
When he when he played for Hull City, he suffered a fractured skull when they played a game against Chelsea, and he
Chelsea.
ended up retiring in 2018. So there's a guy with hunger. Now, I'll tell you one thing I'm going to nail you on,
Go
right,
on.
is let's give this guy, right, all our support.
I
More
completely agree.
importantly, if it doesn't work out in the early days, I don't want you saying, oh, I don't know why Albion have gone for the cheaper option. There's loads of people available. We've gone with him, stick with him. He's got a 3-year deal, right? I would suggest this, right? He's completely a new dawn for Albion. We haven't done many things like this before. I just think that what I don't like about it is this bloody Andrew Nestor and the data-driven stuff. I don't know whether you remember watching a film with Brad Pitt, Moneyball. Whether
Mhm.
Albion are doing that, I don't know. But you know something? It's time that the players woke up, right? If they don't take notice of what he's saying, right? He's been there, he's done it, he's been in the Premiership, right? Some of the players ain't fit to lace this guy's boots. Yeah.
No, I
So
agree with that.
I'm really happy. You know something, Dan. I
Wow.
mean, I know I've nailed you to the mast there. Is that the season's just finished and I'm missing it already. So
Same here.
at least it gives us something to work on, doesn't it?
No, I definitely agree. And I think, again, you got to base off teams like Ipswich, your Blues. They've both come from managers who you don't really know of just because they're assistant managers. And it's worked because I've took a gamble on it. And while I think, Dad, you said a minute ago about the cheaper option, while it could be the cheaper option, yes. But you got to think about it. If you just said then about Anderlecht and I'll be interested in January time when Corberan left. Wow, you got to think about it. And the reason why it took so long is, of course, Postecoglou might be getting a sack, it looks like, from Spurs. We're not too sure as momentum time. I mean, they won the game against Man United in the Europa League. But I think Albion took a bit of time because realistically, with Ryan Mason, they probably got a lot of candidates in. And I think it sounds like he just speak really, he's a really good, intelligent bloke. And I think they took their time because realistically, a 3-year deal again, Dad. I think bringing Nigel Gibbs as well. Sure, there's going to be a conversation there, you reckon?
Yeah. The only thing that there's many things that concern me. You mentioned Ange Postecoglou there. I know I'm going off piece somewhat, but what other industry would you get right whereby a manager's won a cup, he's brought revenue into the club, right, and he's talking about getting the boot. It's mad. The only thing
No, I
that's
agree.
going to Well, I'll say the only thing. One of the things that in this crazy world of football at the moment is instant success. it don't happen, Dan. I think that we've got to realise about expectations. We ain't the club we used to be. I think that I don't know what's going on behind the scenes with the finances, but I'm pretty sure it's not crystal clear. You know, as an owner of a football club, you'd think if you'd have gone to the Mowbrays of this world, or Carlos Corberán, or even tried and tested with Stevie Bruce, there is no guarantee whoever you put in that hot seat is gonna work magic. My worry would be he's working with the same crop of players that have seen off God knows how many managers.
No, I agree with that. I think we'll speak about the players in a minute, but you got to remember he actually managed the Carabao Cup final against Man City with Spurs. They didn't win. I remember he came in when Jose Mourinho got the sack, and you got to remember as well, Dad. He had the links to Spurs, so why not bring us some like players like Mikey Moore's been mentioned on many Albion fans on Twitter, for example, and you got Will Lancashire. You could bring him back if you wanted to. So there's a load of links there, isn't there, Dad? And I think we'll come on now to the players who were released quickly. What were your thoughts then about Dean Garner, Semi Ajayi, John Swift being released?
I was over the moon. I was over the moon. These freeloading professionals, right, who have seen off that many managers, right, they turn up, they get the money, they couldn't care less. I think with Dean Garner, I just think, you know, Summit, I just think that under Slaven Bilic, he was brilliant. He had a bit of TLC. I think that the fans brought into him, but I just don't think he delivered. Whether or not he was held back by the Albion players, I don't know, but I don't think we saw the best of him. I think John Swift just didn't come off. I think hence the reason why he come from a team such as Reading. And it's no disrespect to Reading. I think John Swift was better than he should have been. I think that did he deserve all the booing? No, he didn't. But
No,
I
I
don't
don't think
think
he did.
I've done himself any favours. Semi was never the same player after the injury, and I just think there's many more to come down from my perspective. I won't be happy until there's a complete turnaround in the squad that gets rid of all the players that have been there and they're leeching on the club. And I say that with all sincerity because of that, having had time to reflect on it, I used Nottingham Forest as the blueprint. When they finished some of the majority of their games, they gave everything. They were dead on the feet, so to speak, pardon the expression. With Albion, just felt that they went through the motions. One thing is for sure, Albion players can't take pressure. I mean, let's be honest.
That's got to change, isn't it?
The season tempered out into a whimper at the end of the day. Yeah, we had an outstanding result last night, but there was nothing depending on it, Dan. I mean, me and you could have turned out there with Danny Griffiths in goal. Anyway, we are where we are. I just love the Baggies, and I just hope this is a new era, a new dawn. Because you know
No, I
something, Dan.
agree, Dad.
But
I definitely agree.
I mean, the travelling support has been let down. But again, you know, it's all about expectations. But would I sound quietly confident? No. Am I pleased? Yes. He's got the pre-season, which is much needed for a new manager. But I think he'll be horrified when he sees some of the top spots he's got behind the scenes.
No, I agreed, and I think it's interesting what you said there. 'Cause I think you're spot on what you said about the people who were released. I mean, Ted Cannon, another one who was released. I was really surprised by that one because there was a lot of hype around him saying he'd be pretty good. Um, but again, what was interesting for me, and I got to mention it to you, was we actually tried to give Semi Ajayi a new contract to the Albion. What were your thoughts on that one?
No, I don't think so. I think that I don't think we ever saw the best game. How can I put it? It wasn't consistent enough for my.
A lot of
It,
people said, sorry to put in, but a lot of people said about Semi Ajayi was the fact that his pace got him out the locker most of the times when he was in trouble.
yeah, a bit like you, I'd agree with that. I think that yeah, I'd agree, but I think you know something, Dan. To when it really mattered, he went missing. I just think that the jury's out with me with Bartley. I think that he's probably needed for in the dressing room, but I get the impression behind the scenes he can cause a bit of. Anyway, I'm not going to go into it. I think that Ted Can disappointed because from what I saw of him, certainly when we played the Wolves all those seasons ago, he was outstanding. But again, behind the scenes, we don't know, do we? I think
Yeah, no, I agree.
the goalkeeping situation is at the Albion is something that does need addressing going into the new season, and I'd expect to see a new goalkeeper.
Yes, I think we'll do some more videos on like transfer news, etc., guys. But I think coming to the team, Dad, I think there's got to be, as you said, a lot of additions, and I think there's players who I think we need to see the back of. But then again, we need to get some money from somewhere, and you're hoping that Bill could play well with the likes of bringing likes of Hagen, and you wouldn't be surprised. And I think I said it many and many a times when we have Josh Maja goes, Tom Follows will be going, and there's been rumours of interest in Daryl Dike from US of A.
Well, let's start it in reverse order. Tom Fellows would go in my blessing because I think that he's one of these players. He's, don't get me wrong, he's fantastic for the Albion, but I think that we could utilise the money that he would bring in. So that's that one. I think that Maja, if somebody come in with ridiculous money, again goes in my blessing. And Daryl, I think whatever Daryl does in Albion colours isn't going to be enough. And I think that when I first read the statement about he's looking to get into the World Cup squad, I can't help but think Albion have been used to get him fully fit. He'll get injured on his travels, but lovely bloke. Have we seen the best of him now? Has it worked out now? Has he been unlucky? Yes. I would love to see a new centre forward, young, fresh, but you know what? Who wouldn't, Dan?
No, I definitely agree. I think that's where the infrastructure of who we bring in, the model of it, should be like around lots of Hegem. And I think for next season, Dad, I think many people have said this, and I want to know your opinion. I think it's Bryce Cleary had a really good loan spell of Hartlepool. While he was in the National League, he played really, really well, right? And I'm not too sure if he's ready just yet, because I haven't seen too much of him, so I can't really have my own opinion. Would you maybe integrate him, Dan? And another one I've got to ask about is Caleb Taylor. Of course, he was with Wycombe. They didn't go up to the Championship, but he had a really, really good season. I don't know why we brought him back for that short period, but he went back to Wycombe and then he played really well, but they didn't go up. But what are your thoughts about bringing him into the team?
I think Kirk Taylor, yeah. But I've just seen some pictures on social media, looking trim, looking fit. I think he's got something to offer. I think under the guidance of someone like Hegem, I think he could be outstanding. I've got a lot of time for him, and I think that again, his time away from the Albion will make him hungry. I think Reece Cleary, it's got to be now or never. We can't keep on saying, "Oh, we got a lovely project here." Whenever I've seen him, and I don't mean to be highly critical, he seemed a bit overweight.
Yes, I would agree with that actually. And I think along with the squad, I think this is where the players need to shine through and actually cement their place in the squad really, because there's some place I still think that is up for grabs.
I do as well. I just think that, something, Dan, I just want to see a more hungry, a more committed, a more enthused Albion side. It's almost as if, you know what, we have a go, we don't come away with it, end of story. We need to stop. I mean, look at the Blues, Dan. I mean, look at the hunger they've got. Look
No,
at
I
the
agree.
hunger that all the other teams have got. So, no, I'm not going to slate them. New brush sweeps clean. But I just hope that Ryan Mason brings a bit more of a fresh attitude within it because I think poor old Mogger, I think was thrown under the bus. Should never have been
Yeah.
the Albion manager. I think the players let themselves down. But listen, the players now, Dan, this must be the last chance saloon for this group of players.
Prima donnas.
How many more managers are they going to see off?
No, I agree, and I think I've got to speak to as well. Some positive notes, to be fair. I think it's about the stadium. Of course, safe standings there, and a lot of infrastructure has been added to the stadium. What are your thoughts on that in general? Because I'm really pleased with it.
Yeah, I was up the Shrine a couple of days ago, and I know that they're doing a lot of work, which looks impressive. I think that the safe standing is going to be great. Let's be honest, Dan. If you're in the seat, you stand anyway, don't you? But no, I think nothing but positivity. I've got a probably how can I put it? A confession to make. I was a bit too hard on the club when they went with Macron. Some of the gear I've seen and bought is absolutely
Yeah,
brilliant.
I got the shorts in the purple ones, the black one. Really,
And
really
I,
nice, I think.
yeah, and I did, and I must
Really, really
confess,
nice.
I'm coming out of the club shop recently. Some of the stuff is brilliant, but I know I'm going to sound like the Dick of Doom. Just tell you one thing I don't understand.
Go
If
on.
you've, and this is where you can help me out, right? If you've got an agreement with a kit supplier, why is it you wait until weeks down the line to launch a new kit? We should be launching the new kit now.
A lot of people have. I think Stoke have already released theirs, and to be fair, it doesn't look too bad. And I think that more clubs done the same thing. I think Plymouth have as well. I think that as well. I've got to speak to you quick. I completely forgot to mention this. I think you said it a minute ago. Was the fact that Boas Myhill, James Morrison, Abella staying on. I'm not. Again, I don't really know, but like, I think there's one again that I think they're filling the roles. I'm not really happy with that because they're staying there again. What are your thoughts towards? Because I love them to bits, but I think that again maybe something different.
Well, again, it's open to interpretation. That's the beautiful thing about doing a vlog like this because it's our own opinions. My opinion would be because they're not players and they're not contracted to play. I think you always need somebody. How can I put it? Connected to the club. Those Moyle and Muzza. They
Abella and Morrison.
yeah
I
that
love Abella. I think it's ace.
they know the infrastructure, the club inside and out backwards. So I think that I know I'm waffling a little bit, but I always remember when David Moyes took over Man United, his first job was to axe all the internal staff. You always need somebody with a bit of Albion blood running through the veins. So I do it wholeheartedly, and I think that goalkeeping Moyle, Boris Moyle, he knows his onions, doesn't he? And so I'm for it, Dan. You've got to have some connection with the club, the
No, I agree.
lifeblood of the club. But I think it's exciting times. 3 year deal, Dan. Could have been a 2 year deal. Could have been a rolling contract. So I think we put our faith in there. But I meant to say earlier, I think that with the players going, they from what I understood, they were some big earners. So that's freed some money up as well. I'd be interested to see how much Mason his backroom team are on.
Yes, definitely. I mean, guys, what are your thoughts? Put down in the comment section down below. I mean, before we go, I've got to mention quickly Sunderland in the Premier League. Big shout out to them.
I think it was well done, Dan. I said to your mum, I predicted that. I think
Yes, you
just
did.
goes to show. It just goes to show, doesn't it? Again, I'm not slating Sheffield United. Is I think they thought it was nailed on, and you know what? In the EFL, anything is possible. Good luck to them. Unfortunately, I enjoyed the trip despite the fact that I knackered me back up. But you know, Dan, I still can't wait for the season to start. The
Yes, I'm
fixtures.
really looking forward to it. I mean, it's a shame that your pal Super Frank didn't get up there, but it's one of those, isn't it?
Again, I owe you an apology because I think the Super Frank's proved everybody wrong, hasn't he? But
Yeah, he
again,
has.
it's got to do the second season, Dan. Tell you one thing I will say, by the way. Been out and about on my travels, as you well know. I know
Yep.
you've been locked in your study for
Yes.
your degree, which is an absolute must. But you know what? I've been some ace people come up. Danny Griffiths is going to steal the
Big
show
shout out to
for.
you, Danny.
Yeah, he was ace. We were out and about, me and Perry and Brett the weekend. The amount of fans that come up, it's so heartwarming. So, rumor is on the street that you're going to do an All Things Midlands live. We'll talk about that in the next
Yes,
couple of
hopefully we can, guys. Make sure to put in the comment section down below as well. What videos would you like to see throughout the summer? Because we're willing to do whatever we can, really, to keep you guys entertained through the pre-season, because it can be drab, especially when all you want to do is go to the shrine and watch the boys, isn't it?
Yeah, it can be. Listen, future's bright. Future's All Things Midlands. I can't wait because I'll tell you what. I'm going to nail you to the mats
Here
because
we
I've got.
go. Here we go.
All I'll say is Carl Swain. He's in Turkey. I think there's been an earthquake.
That's it.
Yeah, I hope he's all right. I hope he's all
All right,
right.
Carl. Guys, thank you
He's,
so much.
he's our honorary member. Sorry to
Yeah,
put him down.
shout out to you, Carl. And also, Big Chase Wheeler is one of our
Oh,
own.
hey, Jace Wheeler's on my radar. In fact, if you're listening, Jace Wheeler, let us know where would be a potential venue where we could bring all things Midlands on the road to you, Sonny boy.
Exactly. Guys, thank you so much for this video as always. Make sure in the comment section down below what are your thoughts on Ryan Mason. Dad, what time is it?
Hang on. Big Jace Wheeler. He's one
One
of.
of our own. What time is it? It's
So
showtime.